Hey, how's it going? So this story is about a Space Marine squad chapter, I guess, called the Steel Confessors. And they've been deployed to a Mechanicum Forge World. It's a Forge World that's being terraformed to a Forge World, right? So they got maybe a quarter of the planet done, right? That is all manufactorum and everything else, where the other side of the planet is barren, kind of nothing, and what do you know it, there's an orc infestation. The orcs are called the Techno Tusks, and they're all about technology, even though they don't understand it, know how to use it or anything like that. So Mechanicum worlds, Forge World specifically, are like prime for them. Really one main character, two main characters, I guess, and then one supporting, and then two other that have like a couple lines. But you really just have to remember the main character, which is Alexios, and then the second main character, who is Lucas. Supporting character is the captain, and then you'll find out who the other two little guys with little tiny dialogue have. But it's fun. It took me a little bit. It's about an hour long. Yeah, trying to be more active. Seems like I tend to release a video every 10 days or so, every week-ish. So I'm trying to speed that up, but it's hard doing them all by myself and stuff, and with work and everything else. So, but I enjoy doing it, and it keeps me going when people comment and like the video and stuff, and just view it in general, I guess. Or just as like a little fun thing, the analytics say that I almost have 2,000 watch hours, which is 85 days or 83 days or something like that in total, which is, really dumb to be stoked about, but it's pretty fucking cool to me, and I'm kind of stoked, I'll be honest. So, and that's all thanks to everyone that's watching this and that has watched it in the past. So thank you very much. I will stop talking, and we will start the video. Not the video, the audiobook. Remember, the visuals are just there to represent the what you're hearing. Alright, so without further ado, here is the story. It's called Thunderhawk Down. It's based off of Black Hawk Down, which is one of my favorite movies. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Like, comment, subscribe, all this stuff. Thank you so much. Alright.
Part 1, Alexios. Inside the Thunderhawk, the atmosphere was dense with anticipation. I, Brother Sergeant Alexios, anchored my feet against the grated floor, feeling the vibration of the gunship's engines through the soles of my boots. The air was electric, charged with the collective focus of the Steel Confessors, each warrior encased in their sacred armor, a bastion of strength and resolve. Captain Marcus Tiberius stood at the fore, his presence a beacon of leadership and purpose. Our eyes met, an unspoken exchange that bridged the gap between command and brotherhood. It was a moment of silent affirmation, the weight of the impending operation settling heavily upon us. The descent was swift, the Thunderhawk slicing through Ferrum Secundus's smog-choked skies like a spear of retribution. Outside, the world was a blur of grey and rust, the forges of the Adeptus Mechanicus a distant glow against the planet's scarred landscape. The stronghold of the Techno Tusks loomed ahead, a festering wound upon the surface of Ferrum Secundus, harbouring stolen relics of the Omnissiah. As the bay doors began to open, a gust of toxic air rushed in, filling the cabin with the acrid scent of war and industry. I stepped forward.
Brothers,
I called out, my voice firm over the roar of the engines.
today we reclaim what has been taken. We fight not just for Ferrum Secundus, but for the sanctity of the Mechanicum and the honor of the Steel Confessors.
Nods of assent greeted my words, the squad rallying to the cause with a fervor that spoke of unyielding faith and unwavering duty. Each warrior knew their role, the plan etched into our minds through countless simulations and briefings. Yet beyond the strategy and the tactics lay the unpredictable heart of war where chaos reigned and the only certainty was the brother at your side. As the gunship neared the drop zone, the sound of bolter fire and distant explosions reached us, a grim symphony that heralded our entrance into the fray. I took a deep breath, the last vestige of calm before the storm. The roar of the Thunderhawk's engines faded into the background as I stood at the edge of the bay doors, gazing down at the smog-choked skies of Ferrum Secundus below. My heart pounded in my chest, not from fear, but from anticipation. Today marked the beginning of a crucial operation, one that could turn the tide in our favor. The Orc stronghold below, a blight upon this world, teemed with stolen Mechanicus technology. It was our duty, our sacred mission, to reclaim it.
Brothers, on me!
I called out, my voice firm over the din of the engines and the crackling of comlinks. In unison, we leaped from the Thunderhawk, our descent a controlled plummet towards the heart of enemy territory. Below, the stronghold awaited, a bastion of heresy and defiance to be purged with fire and steel. The drop was a maelstrom of sensation, the wind tearing at us with unseen hands as we hurtled towards our destiny. Around me, my brothers descended like avenging angels, their forms silhouetted against the backdrop of war. As the ground rushed up to meet us, I braced for impact. The teachings of the chapter guiding my every move. We were the Emperor's wrath made manifest, the Steel Confessors, and today we would deliver judgment upon the Techno Tusks. The moment my boots hit the ground, the world erupted into chaos. Orc defenders, crude and savage, charged with a ferocity that would have overwhelmed any other foe. But we were Steel Confessors, forged in the fires of countless battles, and we met their charge with a fury of our own. Bolter fire roared, a thunderous symphony of death that cut through the Orcs' ranks. Chainswords whined, their teeth tearing through alien flesh with brutal efficiency. Amidst the carnage, I caught sight of Scout Initiate Lucas, the newest addition to our squad. His eyes were wide, the enormity of his first battle etched upon his face. Yet, when an Orc charged him, he did not falter. With a precision that belied his inexperience, Lucas fired his bolter, felling the beast with a single shot. Pride swelled within me. He was a true son of the chapter, his potential unfolding before my very eyes. The stronghold fell swiftly, its defenders overwhelmed by our assault. Yet even as we secured the area, I knew this victory was but a prelude. The real battle, the true test of our resolve, lay ahead. We had struck the first blow, but the war for Ferrum Secundus was far from over. The earth beneath my feet betrayed the coming storm with a treacherous shudder. My senses, honed by years of warfare, snapped to alertness as the horizon blurred into a mass of charging metal and flesh. Orc warbikes, engines howling like banshees, burst from the smog, leading a charge of trucks cobbled together from the wreckage of 1,000 battles. Their crude, green-skinned drivers bellowed war cries, a cacophony of bloodlust that filled the air.
Brothers, form up, hold the line!
My command sliced through the din of war, a beacon for my squad amidst the burgeoning chaos. Like the disciplined warriors they were, the Steel Confessors moved as one, a living bulwark against the green tide. Bolters raised, we awaited the onslaught, our resolve as unyielding as ceramite. In that moment of taut anticipation, the sky betrayed us. A thunderous explosion, a roar of fire and metal tore through the air. I spun, my gaze drawn upward by the sound of our doom. One of our Thunderhawk gunships, a titan of the skies, was consumed by flames, its proud form twisted into a spiraling column of smoke and fire.
By the Omnissiah.
The words slipped from my lips, a whisper lost in the clamor of battle. The sight struck a chord of fear, a rarity in my battle-hardened heart. Our brothers, our comrades, were plummeting toward the unforgiving embrace of Ferrum Secundus, stranded behind enemy lines. The Orc charge crashed against our lines like a wave against the shore, but my thoughts were with the downed Thunderhawk. We were Steel Confessors, sworn to protect the Imperium and its servants. We would not leave our brothers to the mercy of the Orcs. Not while I drew breath, my resolve hardened, a forge of duty and determination. We would hold the line. We would save our brothers. The battle for Ferrum Secundus had only just begun. Amidst the chaos, my mind raced, strategizing, calculating. The crash site, a beacon of desperation, loomed in my thoughts, but immediate survival dictated our actions.
Squad, on me!
My voice, a clarion call, rallied the Steel Confessors.
We hold this ground.
The wreckage of the Manufactorum, a testament to the planet's industrial might, now lay in ruins, providing us scant cover.
Form a perimeter.
I commanded, pointing to strategic points amidst the debris. Each Marine, a brother in arms, moved with a purpose, their training manifesting in the efficiency of their actions. We were a machine of war, each part functioning in perfect sync. The din of battle surged around us, a maelstrom of death and destruction. Yet within our ranks a silent understanding prevailed. We were the line that would not break, the shield against the storm. As orcs charged, a sea of green fury, we responded. Bolts bright and deadly streaked through the smog, each one finding its mark. Grenades arched gracefully before blossoming into flowers of fire and shrapnel, carving swathes through the enemy ranks.
Our backs to the wall, brothers.
Shouted, my bolter roaring as I fired into the horde.
Let none pass.
And to their eternal credit, my squad answered. Their weapons sang a hymn of defiance, a melody of destruction that held the line. Amidst the fury, I saw them, not as mere soldiers, but as embodiments of the Emperor's will, unyielding, indomitable. The orcs pressed, their numbers seemingly endless, but we, the Steel Confessors, stood firm. For every step they gained, they paid in blood, their corpses piling before our line. We were a bastion amidst the storm, a beacon of the Imperium's might on this forsaken world. And though the battle raged, our resolve never wavered, for we were more than warriors. We were guardians, protectors of humanity, and we would hold until our last breath. The ground beneath my feet vibrated with the charge of the orc horde, a relentless sea of green fury. But above the cacophony of war, one roar distinguished itself, a guttural bellow that chilled the blood. An orc knob, its hulking frame towering over the fallen, bore down upon us, a monstrous behemoth of muscle and malice. In its grip, a chopper, crude and jagged, gleamed with the promise of death. There was no hesitation. I stepped forward to meet the beast, my power sword humming to life, its energy field crackling with anticipation. Our weapons met with a shower of sparks, a blazing testament to the collision of two warriors, two ideologies in this dance of death. The knob's strength was immense, its blows raining down like meteor strikes, but each was met with the precision of a blade honed by decades of conflict. This was not merely physical combat. It was a clash of wills, the unyielding faith of the Imperium against the barbaric fervor of the orc. The melee was brutal, a maelstrom of violence that consumed all thought. Yet even as I parried another vicious strike, a grim realization dawned upon me. This assault, this beast before me, was but the vanguard of something far greater. A chill of foreboding ran through me, the weight of command pressing down. The lives of my brothers, the success of our mission, hung in the balance.
Fall back to the Manufactorum.
My voice, raw with exertion, cut through the din. A command that brooked no argument. With a final parry, I disengaged, covering our retreat with controlled bursts from my bolter. Each shot was a prayer, an entreaty for survival, as we fell back to the dubious sanctuary of the Manufactorum's ruins. The retreat was a controlled chaos, a test of discipline under fire. Behind me, the Steel Confessors moved as one, a retreating wall of ceramite and resolve. Bolter fire covered our withdrawal, a deadly rearguard action against the encroaching horde. The Manufactorum loomed ahead, a bastion in the storm, and I knew that within its walls lay our only chance of survival. As we crossed the threshold, the clamor of battle dimmed, replaced by the pounding of my own heart. The Manufactorum's shadowed halls offered a momentary reprieve, a chance to regroup, to plan. But the war raged on, and I knew that this fight was far from over. Our duty remained as unwavering as our faith, for we were the Emperor's blade, and we would not be broken. The dim light of the Manufactorum cast long shadows over us as we regrouped, the echoes of our retreat still ringing in my ears. Around me, my squad moved with weary efficiency, checking weapons and tending to the few wounds we had sustained. Despite the relative safety of our surroundings, the air was thick with tension, a palpable reminder of the battle raging outside. I surveyed my brothers, their faces etched with the fatigue of combat, yet unwavering in their determination. The cost of war was not unfamiliar to us, but the loss of even a single life weighed heavily upon my soul.
A moment.
I called, my voice echoing slightly off the cold metal walls. The squad halted, turning to me, a silent inquiry in their eyes.
For our fallen,
I said, bowing my head in a brief, solemn tribute. The silence that followed was a sacred pause, a shared acknowledgement of sacrifice and brotherhood. Our moment of reflection was interrupted by the sound of approaching footsteps, rhythmic and precise. Into the dim light stepped a squad of Adeptus Mechanicus Scitari, their red robes stark against the grey monotony of the manufactorum. At their head, a tech priest, his form more machine than man, his mechanical limbs whirring softly with each movement.
The Omnissiah guides our hand.
He intoned, his voice modulated through vox grills, resonating with a metallic timbre.
We come to aid in the defense of this stronghold.
Gratitude mingled with surprise at their timely arrival.
your assistance is welcome, Tech Priest.
I responded, stepping forward to meet them.
Together, we will hold this ground against the Orc menace.
Under the Tech Priest's direction, we bolstered our defenses, integrating the Skitari's firepower with our own. The unity between flesh and machine, Astartes and Mechanicus, was a testament to the Imperium's strength, a fusion of faith and technology against a common foe. As the echoes of battle grew distant, a rare moment of calm allowed me a breath of reflection. My gaze drifted upward, to the obscured stars beyond the manufactorum's gaping maw. Thoughts of our stranded brothers, their fate unknown, stirred a turmoil within me. The downed Thunderhawk, a stark reminder of our vulnerability, loomed large in my mind.
We will not leave them to the mercy of the Orcs.
I vowed, the weight of command settling firmly on my shoulders. My voice, steady and resolute, carried the promise of rescue, of hope amidst the despair.
Prepare yourselves, brothers. We have a mission to complete.
Around me, the squad nodded, their resolve mirrored in my own. The determination in their eyes was a beacon of strength, a shared commitment to the trials ahead. Together we would face the storm, our bonds forged in the crucible of war. For we were Steel Confessors, and we would not falter. Part 2, Alexios. The command center, a makeshift sanctuary within the manufactorum's bowels, buzzed with a tense energy. Maps and data slates littered the central table, illuminated by the harsh glow of overhead lamps. Captain Marcus Tiberius stood at the head, his presence commanding silence as he surveyed the gathered squad.
Brother Sergeant Alexios.
Tiberius's voice cut through the ambient noise, a calm amid the storm of war. His eyes met mine, an unspoken weight in his gaze.
The situation is dire. Our brothers from the downed Thunderhawk are behind enemy lines, surrounded and likely fighting for their lives.
I nodded, my mind already racing through tactics and maneuvers.
We will bring them home, Captain.
I affirmed, my voice steady despite the adrenaline that thrummed through my veins. Tiberius unfolded a tactical map across the table, his finger tracing the quickest route to the crash site.
The Orcs are between us and our brothers. Their numbers are significant, but we have the element of surprise on our side. We strike fast, hard, and without mercy.
Around the table, my squad leaned in, their faces a mosaic of resolve and grim determination.
Recover our brothers no matter the cost.
Tiberius commanded, his gaze locking with each warrior in turn. The room charged with a palpable intensity, each Marine ready to lay down their life for the mission.
Brother Castor, you'll provide sniper cover. Keep the Orcs off our backs as we move in.
I directed, pointing to a vantage point on the map. Castor nodded, his expression unreadable beneath his helmet, but I knew his shot would be true.
Tech Marine Silas, we'll need your expertise to breach any mechanical obstacles. The Orcs might have rigged the crash site with traps.
Silas, his mechanical limbs clicking softly. simply raised a fist in acknowledgement, ready to apply his sacred skills.
And Lucas?
I turned to the scout initiate, his youthful features set in a mask of determination.
You'll be with me. Your eyes could be the difference between life and death out there.
The distant rumble of artillery served as a grim reminder of the battle raging outside our temporary haven. Yet within the command center, a silent oath was sworn among brothers. We would face the horrors of war head-on, our faith in the Emperor and each other our strongest shield.
Steel Confessors.
I voiced, rallying my squad with a finality that brooked no doubt.
We leave at once. For the Emperor, for our brothers, we march to battle.
As we geared up, the command center dissolved into a flurry of activity, each Marine moving with a purpose honed by years of warfare. Despite the odds, despite the enemy that awaited us, our resolve was unshaken. We were Adeptus Astartes, and we would not be deterred. The cloak of night enveloped us as we navigated the treacherous expanse of the Forgescape, a once mighty testament to the Imperium's industrial might, now reduced to a war-torn wasteland. The darkness was a double-edged sword, concealing our movements, but also masking the dangers that lurked in every shadow. My senses were heightened, every sound a potential threat, every silhouette a possible enemy. The distant explosions served as grim reminders of the ongoing conflict, their sudden light casting macabre shadows across our path. Our progress was cautious, deliberate. I led from the front, my eyes scanning the ruins, my mind racing through scenarios. The squad followed in silence, a shadowy procession moving with a purpose through the desolation. The crash site, our objective, loomed ahead, a beacon in this darkened world. The weight of our mission pressed heavily upon me. The lives of our brothers hung in the balance. Abruptly, the silence shattered. From the ruins to our right, an orc warband emerged, their guttural cries cutting through the night. Crude shooters erupted, spitting death indiscriminately. Instinct took over.
Engage!
I commanded, my voice a beacon in the chaos. The squad responded with precision, their bolters answering the orc threat with lethal efficiency. In the midst of battle, I glimpsed Lucas, his figure poised with a bolter in hand. The moment stretched, a heartbeat where time seemed to slow. Then, with a calmness that belied the fury around us, he fired. His shot found its mark, an orc warrior collapsing amidst a spray of blood. Passage witnessed amidst the ruins of war. But there was no time for reflection.
Move before they regroup.
I barked, the urgency clear in my voice. The ambush, though brief, had revealed our position. We needed to advance, to push through the danger towards our goal. The crash site awaited, and with it, the brothers we had sworn to rescue. Our mission was clear, our resolve unwavering. We would not fail them. The Forgescape unfolded before us, a twisted labyrinth of metal and shadow, its passages choked with debris from the ongoing war. Our advance was cautious, measured, navigating through the ruins with the stealth of specters. Yet, Ferrum Secundus cared little for our plans. Abruptly, our path was barred, a blockade of orc machinery looming like ancient guardians of the wasteland. War machines, silent and ominous, awaited any who dared approach.
Silas.
I called, my voice barely a whisper in the dark. Without a word, Tech Marine Silas stepped forward, his form melding with the machinery as if kin. His mechadendrites, tendrils of steel and circuitry, reached out to the dormant crane towering above us. A moment passed, a silent communion between man and machine, then life sparked within the Leviathan structure. Gears groaned in protest, metal screeched against metal, and with a lurch the crane swung into motion, its arms sweeping aside the blockade with the ease of a god banishing obstacles from his path.
Move!
I commanded, the way now clear. Our footsteps were hushed, but our spirits lifted by the display of ingenuity and power. The Mechanicus might was with us, embodied in Silas's actions. Above, the night was not silent. Brother Castor had taken to the high ground, a shadow among shadows. His perch offered a commanding view of the Forgescape, his sniper rifle an extension of his will. Each shot that rang out was a harbinger of death, delivered with the precision only a space marine could achieve. The sound of his rifle was a reassurance, a reminder that we were not alone in this desolate place.
Targets down.
Kirster's voice crackled over the comm, each word a testament to his vigilance.
Path is clear for now.
Understood.
I replied, my gaze sweeping the darkness for any sign of movement. Castor's overwatch was invaluable, his presence a bastion against the chaos of the night. We moved forward, each step taking us deeper into the heart of enemy territory, each moment under Castor's watchful eye a step closer to our stranded brothers. The Forgescape was unforgiving, a maze designed not by nature but by war. Yet we were Steel Confessors, shaped by conflict, honed by adversity. We adapted, we overcame. And above us, Castor watched, a guardian angel cloaked in the night, his rifle singing songs of salvation. The shadowed alleyways of the Forgescape morphed into a battlefield as we stumbled upon a heavily fortified orc position. The crude barricades and gun nests spoke of preparedness, a trap waiting to be sprung. Their presence was a clear declaration. No further would we pass unchallenged.
Split up.
I commanded, my voice low but laced with urgency.
Flank them.
Without hesitation, we divided, disappearing into the labyrinthine ruins like ghosts. The element of surprise was ours to command, a weapon as sharp as any blade. As we maneuvered into position, the silence was oppressive, broken only by the distant drone of war and the occasional clatter of debris underfoot. Then, on my signal, the night erupted into violence. Bolter fire tore through the darkness, a thunderous declaration of our defiance. Chain's words hummed to life, their serrated teeth hungry for battle. I led my team from the front, bolter in hand, the recoil a steady rhythm against my shoulder as we advanced. Orc shooters answered in kind, their fire wild but relentless, stitching the air with bullets. The clash was immediate, a melic of metal, flesh, and fury. In the heart of the melee, I found myself locked in combat with an orc, its brute strength formidable, but where it relied on sheer force, I wielded discipline and skill. My power sword danced in my hands, a whirlwind of death that met Chopper with a screech of sparks. Around me, my squad engaged the enemy with brutal efficiency. We were a storm upon the orc defenses, our tactics a fluid dance of death, designed to disorient and destroy. The sound of close-quarters battle filled the air, a symphony of destruction that echoed off the ancient manufactorum walls. Through teamwork and tactics, we pressed the advantage, exploiting every gap, every moment of orc confusion. Our movement was relentless, a testament to the training and brotherhood that bound us. We were not just warriors, we were avatars of the Emperor's wrath, delivering retribution to the Xenos filth that dared stand against us. The battle was a crucible, testing our resolve, our skill, and our faith. And in that moment, amidst the clash of war, we were unbreakable. The orc position, once a bastion of enemy strength, crumbled under our assault, a victory forged in the fires of combat and camaraderie. The crash site loomed ahead, a beacon in the tumultuous night, marked by the twisted remnants of our downed Thunderhawk. It was a grim symbol of our mission's urgency, a stark reminder of what we had come to reclaim. But between us and our brothers lay a final obstacle. A dense orc barricade bristling with gun emplacements and makeshift fortifications. The air was thick with anticipation, every breath a quiet vow of determination.
We breach on my mark.
I declared, my gaze sweeping over the assembled faces of my squad. They were warriors all, brothers in arms, their resolve mirroring my own.
For the Emperor and the Fallen.
I added, a solemn promise that steeled our spirits. The moment hung suspended, a brief respite before the storm. Then, with a nod, I gave the signal and we charged. The world narrowed to the sound of our boots pounding against the rubble, the rapid cadence of our advance a drumbeat of impending retribution. As we neared the barricade, the orcs unleashed a hail of gunfire, a cacophonous welcome that spoke of their eagerness for the fight. But we were Steel Confessors, tempered by battle and unyielding in our purpose. Bolter fire answered their challenge, a precise and deadly counterpoint that cut through the night. Reaching the barricade, we did not falter. Chainswords roared to life, their teeth hungry for the work of war. I led the charge, my power sword carving a path through the orc defenses, each stroke a testament to years of combat honed to instinct. Around me, my squad followed suit, a seamless unit of destruction that brooked no resistance. The orcs were fierce, their barbarity unmatched, but they could not withstand our disciplined fury. We moved through their ranks like a scythe through wheat, our cohesion under fire a clear display of our superiority. The barricade, once a formidable barrier, became a charnel house, a monument to our resolve. As the last of the orc defenders fell, silence reclaimed the battlefield, broken only by the labored breathing of my squad. Before us, the crash site lay exposed, the downed Thunderhawk a grim sentinel in the dim light. Our mission was far from over, but this victory, hard-won and costly, was a crucial step toward reclaiming our lost brothers.
Regroup.
I commanded, my voice steady despite the adrenaline that coursed through my veins.
We have brothers to save.
The squad rallied to my side, their faces grim but determined. Together we advanced into the crash site, a band of brothers bound by duty, ready to face whatever horrors awaited us. For we were the Emperor's fury incarnate, and we would not be denied. The crash site, now a makeshift fortress amidst the ruins of war, was a scene of desperate valor. The downed Marines and their Skitarii allies stood surrounded, their numbers dwindling under the relentless orc onslaught. Each blast of their weapons, each defiant stand was a testament to their unyielding spirit, yet even the bravest heart may falter when faced with endless waves of savagery. Into this maelstrom we charged, the reinforcements long prayed for but scarcely dared hoped. Our arrival was like the first light of dawn piercing through the darkest night. Bolters roared in our hands, a symphony of imperial might that sang of retribution and hope. We were the tide turned, the line unbroken, moving with purpose to stand shoulder to shoulder with our beleaguered brethren.
Form up!
I commanded, my voice cutting through the cacophony of battle.
Reinforce the eastern flank.
My words were more than orders. They were a lifeline, pulling the beleaguered defenders from the brink of despair. With disciplined precision, my squad filled the gaps, our firepower bolstering the defense, turning precarious retreats into stalwart stands. In the eye of the storm, I found my center, my resolve crystallizing into focus.
Hold the line for the Emperor.
I bellowed over the comm, my voice a beacon of calm authority amidst chaos. I moved through the ranks, a specter of command, my presence bolstering the spirits of those I passed. Each position I visited, each brother I stood beside, felt the weight of my determination, my unwavering belief in our cause. The orcs pressed hard, their numbers seemingly inexhaustible, but we held. With every orc that fell, with every moment we stood our ground, hope grew. The crash site, a crucible of war, became a fortress of defiance, each defender a bastion against the green tide. Our bolters did not cease, our chainswords never stilled. We fought with the fury of the righteous, our every action in defiance of the alien horde that sought to overrun us. And in that moment, united in purpose and steel, we were more than soldiers. We were the embodiment of the Emperor's will, indomitable and unyielding. The battle raged on, each moment an eternity, but we did not falter, for we were Steel Confessors and we would hold the line for the Emperor, for our brothers, and for the Imperium. Amidst the fury of combat, where every second unfurled with the intensity of a lifetime, a cry cut through the din, a stark note of anguish amidst the cacophony of war. Scout Initiate Lucas, young and valiant, faltered, his form crumpling to the ground with a jarring finality. His armor, a bastion of protection, was breached, the integrity compromised by the brutal efficiency of an orc chopper. Without hesitation, Apothecary Darius moved, his form a blur of cerulean and white, the heraldry of his sacred office. The battlefield around him transformed into a tableau of desperation and determination, each Marine fighting not just for victory, but for the life of their brother. Preaching Lucas's side, Darius knelt, his movements deliberate, a calm within the storm.
Hold, brother.
He commanded, his voice a bastion of calm amidst chaos. His hands, steady and sure, worked with practiced speed, extracting field dressings and pain suppressants from his narthecium. Lucas, his face a mask of pain and resolve, nodded, his training holding against the tide of agony that threatened to engulf him.
For the Emperor.
He gasped, the words a whisper of fervor. Darius worked swiftly, sealing the wound with biofoam, a temporary measure against the spectre of death.
You'll stand again, Lucas. The Emperor isn't done with you yet.
He stated a declaration more than mere reassurance. His actions were a testament to the sacred duty he bore, a lifeline extended in the heart of darkness. Around us, the battle raged on, a relentless surge of violence and will. But in this moment, within the small circle of light cast by Darius's helmet lamp, there was only the struggle for life. A battle as ancient and profound as any fought in the name of the Imperium. As Darius administered the last of his treatments, stabilizing Lucas for evacuation, I couldn't help but marvel at the resilience of the human spirit, embodied in the figures of the wounded scout and the stoic apothecary. Here, under the shadow of war, the bonds of brotherhood were forged anew in blood and duty.
Move out!
I called, my voice carrying over the din.
We leave no one behind.
Together we rallied once more, a phalanx of resolve and steel pressing forward. Lucas would live, a testament to the courage and sacrifice that defined us. For we were the Emperor's chosen, and in his service we found our purpose, our hope, and our salvation. The darkness enveloped the forgescape, transforming it into an abyssal maze, its passages and ruins shrouded in shadows that seemed to pulse with malice. Within this benighted world, we stood, a circle of defiance amidst the encroaching tide of orcs. Their numbers were legion, their ferocity undiminished by losses. The air was thick with the stench of war, the ground slick with blood and oil. Back to back we fought, the cohesion of our squad our only bulwark against the onslaught. Each discharge of our bolters, each swing of our chainswords, was a desperate plea for survival. The integrity of my armor, breached in places by the fury of the battle, bore silent witness to the intensity of the conflict. The cacophony of battle, gunfire, explosions, the roar of orcs, and the cries of the wounded merged into a symphony of dread, a testament to the chaos that had engulfed us. In the midst of this maelstrom, our ammunition dwindling and our spirits besieged, the voice of Captain Tiberius crackled through the comm, a beacon of resolve amidst despair.
We push forward. We do not abandon our own.
His command, though expected, struck with the force of a thunderbolt, galvanizing my resolve. The weight of his decision, the burden of command, was palpable even across the void of communication. In his words lay the essence of our duty, the unbreakable oath that bound us as Steel Confessors. The decision was made. There would be no retreat, no yielding to the overwhelming odds. With a rallying cry, I echoed his command to my squad.
For the Emperor, we advance.
The resolve in their eyes, reflecting the inferno of battle, was my answer. We were brothers in arms, united in purpose and faith. As we prepared to push forward to breach the darkness with the light of our fury, I felt the weight of the moment. This was more than a battle. It was a testament to our resolve, to the bonds that forged us into warriors of the Imperium. The night might have been our enemy, the orcs a seemingly insurmountable force, but within us burned a fire no darkness could extinguish. With Captain Tiberius's decision as our guide, we advanced, not as soldiers facing the end, but as avatars of the Emperor's will, determined to reclaim our fallen and defy the night. The forgescape, with all its shadows and terrors, would bear witness to our defiance. We were Steel Confessors, and we would leave none of our own behind. The darkness of the forgescape was abruptly shattered, not by the encroaching forces of chaos, but by the orchestrated fury of our counterattack. Captain Tiberius's decision had set the gears of war into motion, and as we stood ready to advance, the heavens themselves seemed to roar in approval. Above us, the night sky transformed into a canvas of destruction. Artillery, our long arms of retribution, painted streaks of fire across the black, each explosion a herald of the storm we were about to unleash. Gunships, mighty birds of prey, circled overhead, their engines a thunderous promise of the wrath to come. Around me, the ranks of the Steel Confessors swelled, bolstered by the arrival of the Adeptus Mechanicus Scitari regiments. The sight of them, a sea of red and steel, was a testament to the unity of our purpose. The Skitarii, with their mechanical precision and unyielding resolve, stood shoulder to shoulder with us, a fusion of flesh and faith against the darkness.
Our brothers await.
I said, my voice steady, carrying over the din of preparation. The men and machines around me responded, a single nod of assent from a multitude of helmets. We were more than an army. We were a force of reclamation, determined to wrest our own from the grasp of oblivion. As we began our advance, the ground beneath our feet trembled, not in fear, but in anticipation. With each step, we closed the distance between us and our stranded brethren, between despair and hope. The orcs, sensing the shift, roared their defiance, a cacophony of savagery that sought to drown out the sound of our approach. They were met with disciplined volleys of bolter fire, each shot a declaration of our refusal to falter. The battle was joined anew, a maelstrom of violence that consumed all in its path. Yet within this chaos there was order, a method to our advance. We moved as one, a phalanx of determination that broke upon the orc lines like a tide. The Skitarii, their weapons singing songs of destruction, wove a tapestry of death around us, their unwavering discipline a mirror of our own. In that moment, as we pushed forward beneath the blaze of gunships and the thunder of artillery, I felt the weight of our cause. We were not merely soldiers fighting for survival. We were the embodiment of the Emperor's will, a beacon of light in the darkness. The Forge Escape, with all its horrors, was our crucible, and within it we would forge our legacy. The battle raged, a testament to the might of the Imperium and the unbreakable spirit of its defenders. We were the Steel Confessors, and with the Adeptus Mechanicus at our side, we would reclaim our fallen, no matter the cost. The night had been our enemy, but now it bore witness to our resolve, to the indomitable force of humanity united against the darkness. The battlefield was a vortex of violence, each moment stretching into eternity, as we fought to reclaim our fallen and defend the perimeter. Amidst the chaos, a critical breach in our lines emerged, a gaping maw that threatened to swallow us whole. It was there that I found my purpose, my final stand.
Alexios.
Lucas called out, desperation lacing his voice as he recognized the dire turn of events. I could hear the conflict within him, the struggle between duty and the instinct to save a brother. I turned to him, my gaze steady beneath my helmet.
Lucas, hold your position.
I commanded, my voice the calm in the storm.
Protect the others.
It was more than an order, it was a plea from one brother to another, a trust laid bare in the midst of battle. With a nod that carried the weight of understanding, Lucas stepped back, his weapon raised against the advancing horde. He was a warrior through and through, but in that moment, he bore the burden of command, a weight I had lifted from his shoulders with my decision. Turning back to the breach, I ignited my power sword, its roar a defiant cry against the darkness. The orcs surged forward, a tide of green flesh and rusted metal, but I stood resolute, a bulwark against their savagery. Each swing of my blade was a benediction, each fallen orc a testament to our resolve. The fight was brutal, the enemy relentless. I moved with a purpose, my every action a dance of death honed by years of war. I was no longer a mere soldier, I was the tempest, the fury of the Emperor made manifest. With every orc that fell before me, I bought precious time for my brothers, a sacrifice made willingly.
Lucas!
Called out over the din, my voice strained but clear.
Lead them to victory.
It was my final command, a legacy entrusted to his capable hands. As the orcs pressed in, their numbers overwhelming, I knew this was the end of my path. But there was no fear, only a fierce joy in knowing that my life was spent in service to a cause greater than myself. I fought on, a spectre of wrath, until the darkness claimed me. In my last moments I saw Lucas, his figure blurred by the maelstrom of battle. He was fighting, leading, embodying the virtues I had sought to instill in him. My heart swelled with pride, even as the light began to fade. I had made my stand, my sacrifice, a final testament to the brotherhood that bound us. I was Brother Sergeant Alexios, and though I would fall, my spirit would endure in the hearts of those I left behind. For in the end, it was not how we died that defined us, but how we lived and the sacrifices we made for our brothers, for the Imperium and for the Emperor.
Part 3. Lucas. The world around me was a blur of motion and noise, the cacophony of battle drowning out all but the most immediate threats. Amidst this chaos, Captain Tiberius's voice was a clarion call, slicing through the din with orders that spurred us onward. We were the tip of the spear, the vanguard of a counter-assault that sought to pierce the heart of the Orc onslaught. As we surged forward, the Orcs seemed almost taken aback by our renewed vigor. Their momentary hesitation was all we needed. With Captain Tiberius at the forefront, his power sword a beacon of wrath in the gloom, we carved a path through the enemy ranks. Every step forward was hard won, the ground beneath our feet reclaimed with blood and bolter fire. The crash site loomed ahead, a scene of devastation that tugged at my heart. There, amidst the wreckage, were our brothers, the survivors of the downed Thunderhawk, their resilience in the face of overwhelming odds a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Steel Confessors. As we reached them, our formation tightened, a shield wall of ceramite and flesh that repelled the encroaching horde with disciplined volleys and ruthless close-quarters combat.
Secure the perimeter.
Captain Tiberius bellowed, his voice cutting through the clamor of war. We complied with practiced efficiency, our movements synchronized by countless drills and the unspoken bonds of brotherhood. Each of us knew our role, the dance of war etched into our very beings. In the midst of this maelstrom, the roar of engines heralded the arrival of our salvation. Gunships, their hulls scarred by countless engagements, descended from the heavens, their weapon systems laying down a withering cover fire that cleared the way for our extraction. As the first of the gunships touched down, its ramp descending with a hiss of hydraulics, relief washed over me, a momentary respite from the adrenaline that had sustained me. We moved quickly, ushering the survivors aboard with urgent hands. Each glance exchanged a silent vow that no more would be lost this day. Yet, even as we prepared to withdraw, my thoughts lingered on Brother Sergeant Alexios, his last stand a memory that would haunt me for the rest of my days. In his sacrifice, he had embodied the highest ideals of the Steel Confessors, a beacon of courage that would guide us through the darkest of times.
Move out!
Captain Tiberius's command snapped me back to the present, and I boarded the gunship, one of the last to leave the ground. As the ramp closed behind us, sealing us away from the nightmare landscape of Ferrum Secundus, I cast one last look through the viewport, the burning fires of the Forgescape a stark backdrop to my reflection. Alexios had made the ultimate sacrifice, but in doing so, he had ensured our survival, our victory. As the gunship lifted off, carrying us away from the battlefield, I knew that his spirit would forever dwell among us, a reminder of what it truly meant to be a Steel Confessor. And as I looked around at my brothers, their faces etched with fatigue and loss, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. We would carry on, for we were the Emperor's fury, and we would never falter. As dawn's first light broke over the horizon, casting a pale glow across the Forgescape, the full magnitude of what had transpired under the cover of darkness became starkly apparent. The ground, a tapestry of ruin and valor, bore the marks of our struggle, with the fallen of both friend and foe lying as silent witnesses to the night's ferocity. Captain Tiberius, a figure of stoic leadership amidst the aftermath, moved through the battlefield with a solemn grace. His gaze, once alight with the fire of command, now held a depth of sorrow as he surveyed the cost of our victory. It was a scene etched in silence, the quiet a stark contrast to the cacophony of war that had raged just hours before. In this somber dawn, we, the surviving Steel Confessors, congregated, forming a circle around Captain Tiberius. The air was heavy, laden not just with the scent of battle, but with the weight of loss. Our formation, usually a symbol of strength and readiness, was now a testament to unity and mourning. Captain Tiberius began to speak, his voice a steady ember amidst the chill of dawn.
Brothers, we stand here in the light of a new day, victorious, yet marked by the sacrifices of those who can no longer stand with us.
His words, though measured, carried an undeniable force, echoing the gravity of our loss. He continued, invoking the names of our fallen, with Brother Sergeant Alexios among them. Each name was a reverberation in the stillness, a ripple across the hearts of those who heard them.
Alexios,
Tiberius said, pausing as the name left his lips.
Embodied the virtues of our chapter. Bravery, sacrifice, and unwavering loyalty to the Emperor.
The ceremony, simple yet profound, was our way of inscribing their memory into the very essence of our brotherhood. It was a promise that their sacrifices would not be forgotten, that their deeds would be honored in the annals of our chapter's history. As Tiberius's words faded, leaving a silence that spoke volumes, I felt the weight of his grief, our grief, as my own. Yet, within this mourning, there was a thread of resolve, a shared understanding that we would carry forward the legacy of the fallen. They had given their all in service to the Imperium, and we in turn would honor them through our continued vigilance. The ceremony closed, not with grand gestures, but with a collective acknowledgement of our duty and the unspoken vow to uphold the ideals for which our brothers had laid down their lives. The dawn, with all its promise of new beginnings, bore witness to our resolve. In the light of day, amidst the remnants of conflict, we found not just sorrow, but the strength to move forward. The cost of victory was etched in our hearts, a perpetual reminder of the price of freedom and the enduring spirit of the Steel Confessors. In the quiet that followed the ceremony, Captain Tiberius and I found ourselves standing apart from the others, our gaze cast over the forgescape. The first rays of dawn painted the scars of battle in a harsh, revealing light. Around us, the silence spoke volumes, a testament to the night's brutal struggle and the cost exacted upon friend and foe alike.
We've paid dearly for this victory,
I said, breaking the silence, my voice barely above a whisper. The words felt inadequate, too small to encompass the enormity of what we had experienced, what we had lost. Tiberius turned to me, his face a mask of resolve tempered by grief.
Yes, we have, Lucas, but look around you.
He gestured to the surviving members of our squad, busying themselves with the tasks of recovery.
See the resilience of our men. It's in their spirit, unbroken even in the face of such loss. It's this resilience that will see us through.
His words, spoken with the weight of command yet infused with a palpable sense of camaraderie, offered a semblance of comfort. I nodded, understanding the truth in his words, even as the reality of our situation weighed heavily on my heart.
The scars of this battle.
Tiberius continued, his gaze returning to the horizon.
Mark not just the planet, but each of us. They are reminders of what we've endured, of the sacrifices made.
His voice, though steady, carried an undercurrent of solemnity, a reflection of the burden of command.
And the future?
I asked, the question hanging between us like a spectre, its answer as uncertain as the shifting tides of war. Tiberius's response was resolute, a beacon in the uncertainty that shrouded us.
We rebuild, stronger. For we are the Steel Confessors, unbroken by the trials we face.
His vow, spoken with unwavering determination, was a rallying cry, a declaration of our indomitable spirit. As we stood there, overlooking the quiet forgescape, a new dawn greeted us. The forges, silent throughout the night's ordeal, reignited one by one, their flames a symbol of recovery, of the enduring spirit of the Steel Confessors. Ferrum Secundus, scarred yet resilient, stood as a beacon of the Imperium's might, a testament to the eternal vigil of its defenders. In that moment, beside Tiberius, I felt the weight of my new responsibilities as a newly promoted member of our brotherhood. The path ahead was fraught with challenges, but the dawn's light brought with it a sense of renewal, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope remained.
We move forward,
Tiberius said, turning to face me, his gaze imbued with a sense of purpose.
together, as Steel Confessors, guardians of the Imperium's frontier.
And so, as the story of our struggle closed, it was not with an ending, but with the promise of a new beginning. Ferrum Secundus and we, its defenders, would continue our eternal vigil, unbroken, our spirits forged anew in the crucible of war.
Alright, and that was the short story Thunderhawk Down. It was loosely based on, heavily loosely, whatever that means, based on Black Hawk Down, which is one of my favorite movies. And hopefully you saw similarities with that. Thank you very much for listening, watching. I hope you enjoyed it. don't have much to say other than that I based it off of Thunderhawk Down. I'm gonna listen to it one more time and then do the commentary for it. Maybe that'll have something to say. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Another video and or another audiobook in like hopefully sooner than a week, but probably a week. Thank you very much again. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day or good night. Thank you.